Good morning, Taylor. And I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about Noam Chomsky. And I watched that hour-long video, and then I went to Wikipedia and looked up his history. And I'm going to try to keep my comments brief, but it was a very interesting video. I'm interested in how, I guess you could say what a free country, because in a lot of other countries, he wouldn't be allowed to, say what he says, and much less get a check every month for being a professor. Anyway, I guess the bottom line is, and what, my experience, of course, 20 years of teaching in the technical or vocational area, and we got your just experience of working and all that stuff, and working in the lower middle class area. I mean, I kind of hover right there at the line, between poverty and low middle class. Anyway, I remember my mother when I was a young man and getting interested in politics, and my mother was very, very interested in politics. And she said that if you take the far left and the far right, they stand back to back, and they really have a beef with exactly the same issues, but they have a different approach to how they would handle them. Okay, so interestingly, it's easy to find the problems with societies, the world, the whole 9 yards. So some of the things that he was talking about was, the perpetual battle between the working class and the business class. And, he alludes to the ideas of the bank bailouts and stuff like that. He, doesn't have a good view of the Horatio Alger rags to riches attitudes of the capitalists. The capitalists are constantly saying, well, all you got to do is have a breakthrough and you'll go from being really, really poor. I mean, look at Bill Gates, look at Steve Jobs, and, several examples of Henry Ford, people that came from virtually nothing, Of course, Bill Gates, his dad was a professor at UW, and they had money, but even at that level, it wasn't the kind of money that it ended up being for him or whatever. But anyway, and he talked about education, and talking about Chomsky now, talk about wage slavery, and it's interesting if you go to Alex Jones' Prison Planet, or you go to Alex Jones' his InfoWars, you're going to hear the same thing, but you're just going to hear it different. I think both sides, left and right, they're going to talk about the horrors of a oligarchy that, is in charge of everything. And trickle down government, more or less, and just wanting a docile masses out there, kind of a 1984 Orwellian type government worldwide, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of fear about that kind of thing. But anyway, enough of that. I'm going to get to the Jim Moore point of view. I think, of course, I don't know, being essentially around vocational people, it's probably a different thing. But I know you have had a lot of experience working in a kitchen. And it's interesting that when I was 14 years old, that's where I started out, was in a kitchen. And it was interesting because that was the hardest work I think I ever did in my life. And it was hot, 120 plus degrees in there, steam. I worked in the scullery. When I wasn't working on the scullery, basically the dishwasher, the sanitizer, then I was out there making salads and stirring soup, and it was all hot and miserable. And I didn't last very long, a couple of days. And I ended up working at the gas station, which was the same thing as far as heat and sweat and everything, but at least I liked working on cars better than I did working on salads, okay, and washing dishes. The pay, by the way, was 75 cents an hour working at the hotel in the restaurant, and it was 90 cents an hour, big raise there, 90 cents an hour for the gas station. So, I know what it's like to, of course there was no such thing as overtime, no such thing as vacation, no such thing as health benefits, none of that existed. And, I was probably in my middle 20s before I had a job that had any kind of benefits or paid above minimum wage or anything like that. So from the time I was 25 all the way till I was retired there, well, I worked until the year 2000 in the world where I had a W-4 form. Those were the only years that I had, any kind of benefits and any, what you would call a decent wage. But anyway, I did learn that people don't want to work. That's true. I got a thing from the World Vision here the other day. Got 4 little kids walking down the sandy street over in one of those African countries, and they're, malnourished, and they're wearing canvas sacks for, clothes, and they're dirty, and they got, flies and lice, and it just makes you want to cry. It's so bad. And they're holding, I guess they're orphans or whatever, they're holding on to each other. And they interview them and they say, well, what do you want to, what's your dream? Well, one of them wants to be a lawyer, one of them wants to be a doctor, one of them wants to be an accountant, and I can't remember what the other one wanted to be, but they were all, the kind of jobs that would require a college degree. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but it would not be a physical or manual labor type job. Yet these countries over there, they don't even have roads. They have no infrastructure. They don't have electricity or water, and you can't just poof these things into existence. It takes thousands of people, lots of equipment, takes taxes and money and stuff. Some of these countries over there are thousands of years old, and they're still in a sand pit. And I'm sorry, I'm a little frustrated by it, but obviously nobody wants to work, and they don't want to get out there and muscle it together, and come up with a great country like our country or Europe or some of the other countries, And I think if you studied any of the futurists, they're talking about eventually the machines will take over, and the only work there will be would be the tenders of the machines, and they're even working on machines to fix the machines. And I think as the world becomes a first world, that kind of thing's going to happen. And the big thing, though, is, are we going to remain free? Are we going to have any kind of liberties? Or are we all just going to become this stupefied mass of people that are being told how to think, how to breathe, how to live? I mean, people like Bloomberg bother me real bad, because it's not that, it's kind of like what my wife always tells me, Jim, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. And I think that Bloomberg, I don't have any problem with him not agreeing with sugar drinks. I don't drink them. In fact, but over the period of my life, I did drink them, and, all that kind of stuff. And, that's my business. I'm in the United States of America. I'm free. If I want to, wipe myself out, that's not anybody's business but my own. But I should also have to take responsibility for it. In other words, if I drink, alcohol all my life and I turn into a alcoholic laying in the gutter, no one should feel like they've got to take care of me, unless it's Salvation Army or something. But this is the kind of thing about, again, what Chomsky and the libertarians are kind of saying the same thing, but they got a different way of looking at it. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I really get frustrated with the idea that, if some guy, from East LA walks in and robs a bank, he gets, 25 to life for robbing the bank. But yet the guy on the inside of the bank steals millions of dollars, and they don't even get, arrested. They don't even have a case. And that, people are seeing that kind of hypocrisy. And it's not just in the banks. It's, it's like corporations and crony capitalism and all these kind of things. And it's causing big problems with people. Well, I got to wrap this up because this file size is getting pretty big, and it'll get to the point where you won't be able to view it. I'm going to try to get it up on YouTube for you today, and then maybe we'll continue the discussion. Take care.